Hey Joe, thought I would provide some video feedback. And very good. I'm super excited to see the series you posted. We're off to a great start. It's exactly what I had in mind to take a walk around your town and find some buildings and some geometries to photograph. And this first image exemplifies what I'm looking for. What you did was move in and fill the frame and examine how these planes and geometric lines interacted with the light and shadow. Excuse me, to create a pretty nice composition. I like the symmetry here with this line right down the middle and the balance of the two windows. What's nice too is I'm not looking at any sky or extraneous things. It's clean, it's simple. Moving along here, this is also pretty nice. I like your shadow here. I like, again, the strong geometry of looking around this corner and the way the bench is catching the light and casting a shadow. Now this one is probably the weakest of the series for a couple of reasons. Number one is it's kind of a literal photograph of the Good Shepherd here as a statue sitting sort of in its own space. So rather than move in and find details in here, we're just sort of recording the object itself. And that's not as interesting to me as finding elements within an object to find design in. Probably more importantly, though, is the fact that this is in the shadow like this. So the focal point is not the source of light. And in fact, back here is what drags your eye and draws your eye away from the object, because this is where the light is. Do you see what I mean? Like in the first one here. The focal point are the windows and the line and the geometry, and it's also where the light is. The reflections in the window is kind of interesting too. But in this case, not so much, you see. It's in a shadow. This one is pretty cool for its strong one-point perspective. I wanted to show you how to balance for a little blue. I'm seeing blue light in here, blue color cast. And also the lightness back here is kind of pulling our eye away from what's happening here. So vignetting the outside edge, darkening that a little bit, color correcting for the blue, and we'll fix this one up. And I'm going to also demonstrate on this one. I like very much the subject. The sky to the right here is extraneous, and also there's a bit of keystoning, we call it. When you tilt your camera upward, vertical lines tend to tilt inward like this, and I'll show you how to straighten that out. And this one is a classic, especially from our light and shadow. Again, I'd pull the focal point into here and darken this side a little bit, and that'll strengthen it. Okay, it's pretty good. Kind of interested in the shadow over here and maybe some of the what's going on back here. Maybe a little more focus on what we're doing possibly would strengthen that. Same with this one. I kind of think what's more important is over to the right here. Probably move the camera a little bit more right, show us less of this area here. And edit for focal point right here. Okay, that's pretty good. A little bit of keystoning again, and a little bit of lost space down here. Congratulations on a night shot like this. It's pretty hard to shoot at night. I should ask what camera you're using. Social distancing, they shouldn't be out. Anyhow, let me run over to Photoshop here and show you this one. So if I select all, Control A, and hit Control T for free transform, and The menu is Edit Free Transform right here. Control T is the shortcut. And if you come to a corner and hold down the Control button, and I click on this, notice that the arrow changes to a white in the upper right-hand corner, open arrow. And I'm going to click and drag those lines straight. And I'm going to do that on this side as well, till I get all these lines parallel to the edge of the frame. Okay, and then deselect with a Control D. Next I'm going to do a little vignetting, so I'm going to pick up the elliptical marquee tool, come to the center, click and drag, holding down the Alt key so it grows from the center like this. And then I want to feather it out so this is really blended in. So click Select and Mask, click Feather, dial that in till it comes back to about, yours will be different in the number of pixels because this is a small version of your picture. Something like that. I can click Invert right here, and what will be selected then is the outside, and say OK. And then I'm going to hide this with a Control H. And Image, Adjustment, and Brightness Contrast. We'll darken the outer edges just a little bit. And notice what that does is it kind of focuses our attention and the light to the sort of the center here. So let me just show you, deselect that, in history, how it ended up looking here. So I pasted it in. This was the original that you posted, and this is the edited version. Before, after. So it's real important to edit your pictures. Taking the shot is just the beginning. Let's do this one. I'm going to hit Control B, or Image Adjustment Color Balance. I'm going to add a little yellow, add a little red. Okay, and see how that warmed up? I'll hit Control Z to show you the before. Control Z to show you the before and after here. And for some reason it's bouncing back, but that's all right. Okay, and then one other is the same trick. I'm going to take the elliptical marquee, click and drag it using Alt to constrain it. Select and mask. Feather it out. Invert it. Say OK. Darken it. And I'm going to lighten the center a little bit as well. So I'm going to invert it one more time. So that's select inverse, Shift Control I, Control H to hide it. And when I bring up the light, instead of Image Adjustment, Brightness Contrast, we'll use Image Adjustment Levels. And the shortcut for that we'll use all the time is Control L. And notice that there's a gap here between the right triangle and the edge of the histogram. So I'm going to bring that right in, right sort of like that. I can take the middle just slightly. And notice how there's kind of a glow of light towards the center and the edges are a little bit darker. Again, here's the difference when blue and a little darker here, warmed up and focusing the light. Before, after. Okay, you've gone on enough. 9 minutes, 21 seconds. We'll wrap it up. See you on the blog.